What's up, you guys? Some Extreme Symmetry here to bring you guys a new video today, and I'm here to do the good, the bad, and the Yu-Gi-Oh! The Revamp series. Basically, what I decided to do was start talking about decks that I'd already talked about in previous episodes of the good, the bad, and Yu-Gi-Oh! And and now it's such a kind of like diverse format and such a crazy format where pretty much any deck can do well. I wanted to revisit some of the decks that I had done videos on, and I wanted to talk about how I feel they will perform this format. And a lot of people like sent me this idea. They were like, "You saw the list, like a lot of the decks are going to be good again. Can you talk about their potential this format?" So that's what I'm going to try to do. This is kind of a test run video with it. If it doesn't do that well, I won't continue it, but I think you guys will enjoy it. And I had to start with Black Wings. There was just no doubt in my mind that the number one deck that came back this format full force was Black Wings. Uh, I did a video probably on Black Wings several months ago, and talking about how it was good, what was good about it, what was bad about it, and then like some really cool Yu-Gi-Oh stuff about it. But now, like more than ever, this deck has come back, and it's definitely going to be more on the good side, more on the Yu-Gi-Oh side than the bad side of this format. So I'm just going to keep this video simple, and hopefully you guys will enjoy it. So what's good about this deck? Honestly, like, do I even need to say it? Like, there are three freaking Whirlwind. That's just ridiculous. There are three freaking Whirlwind, there are three freaking Icarus, and there are three Duality. There is so much consistency that this deck has again. The deck literally has all its main stuff back. It's absolutely ridiculous. The only thing that would have made this deck just so ridiculous that honestly I think they literally were pulling our leg is if they put Gale back to 3. But thank God they didn't, because that would have been just like complete overkill and like it would be insane. But the number one like good thing about this deck is outside of the consistency is the deck's really good. I've tested the deck. I used to play the deck ages ago, before it got hit really hard by the list. This deck is explosive. Like what I really like about this deck is it's very aggro compared to a lot of decks that people play where you'll just set and pass, set and pass. This deck is able to freely summon monsters and make pushes because of the fact that you have Icarus attack. You don't really fear back row. It's like, well, oh, you want to do something? Okay, Icarus, you go minus. I get my Blackwing in the graveyard. I'm just going to then just bring up Blizzard and I'm going to make a Synchro and, do some crazy shenanigans. That's one thing I really like about the deck. That's something I think is really good about the deck. Is it's very aggressive and it makes it so that you don't feel worried about a lot of the you don't really worry about back row that much anymore. Most people like this format, like I've said in previous videos, are going to try and set like 3 to 4 back row and summon a monster, do something like that. And I mean, that's how we expected the format to go as soon as Heavy Storm was banned. But having Icarus attack can also put your opponent at bay. If they know they're playing Black Wings, they have to completely change up their play style, because if they don't and they fall victim to like an end phase Icarus or you chaining Icarus when they try to bottomless and then you Icarus and hit their other 2 back rows and they go complete minus, it's ridiculous. So one thing is that the deck is so good for the fact that it's going to make people think before they make plays they would make against other decks. I guess other good things about the deck. I mean, honestly, it's 3 Kalut. Like, come on, that's just stupid. Like, you have 3 mini Honest that literally just get in there, get over any monster, and just pretty much make it very hard for your opponent to come back. Like, they think they're in a good position, they attack, you Kalut, they're pretty much done. It also is a mind game. Kalut is a huge mind game. It always has been. You always wonder, does your opponent have, does my opponent have Kalut? Does my opponent have Kalut? And unless they've activated Whirlwind, like, you don't know. Did they search? Like, you'll see what they search with Whirlwind. You'll see what they add with Duality. But outside of that, if they don't have those cards, you're never going to know what's really in your opponent's hand. And sometimes they can just bluff you. I've had games before where I've just summoned Shura. I didn't have Whirlwind, didn't have Duality. I just sat there. Opponent wouldn't attack because they feared Kalut. So you can play a really good mind game with this card. So that's another thing I think is really, really great about the deck. Now, I've talked about pretty much like all the good things. Like the whole deck is just really good. The whole deck is really solid. Adding Maxx C, in case people are wondering, this is the version I used for when I did the top 4 profile. This is the top 4 deck list from YCS Toronto. Having Maxx C in the main deck is amazing. It helps you draw to more cards. It helps you get to your Whirlwind, especially when you don't open with it. And it's just really good in the deck. A lot of people are going to run it. I know some people may not run it, but I think Maxx C is just like a staple in like every deck this format, because every deck is trying to special summon. So that's just one thing. The deck's really good. And I think like the last like really good thing about the deck is it's one of the decks that just circulates Dark Arm Dragon like it's no one's business. It's so easy to get 3 darks in the graveyard. It's so easy to go Shura, summon Va, you get 2 right there, summon Blizzard, get back Shura, get back whatever, Synchro, you have your 3 darks, drop Dark Arm, pretty much game right there. So yeah, so that's the last good thing about the deck. The deck just has a lot of versatility. The deck's very consistent, and the deck really does grind through pretty much everything in the format right now. So that's what I think is really good about it. Now, what's bad about it? Now I was trying to think through playtesting and through everything, why, what was bad about this deck? It has all its like main cards back. What's bad about it? What's bad about it, honestly, is it's kind of an uphill battle if you don't open with Whirlwind. One of my friends made that statement to me before I like finished and started playing the deck. He was like, if you don't open Whirlwind, it's gonna be a really uphill battle. And I'm pretty stubborn, so I'm like, whatever, that's not true. And then I got in those situations where I didn't open Whirlwind, and it definitely was an uphill battle because, granted, you do have 1800 beater, pretty good, 1700 beater, pretty good. You do have a 2000 beater, pretty good, and you do have your Kalutes. But a lot of the time, like you just draw like odd hands. I'll have hands where I'll draw like double Bora, or you'll draw like Ashura, and you won't really draw anything else outside of that, and then you're just hoping to draw to the Whirlwind, so that when you do your initial normal summon, it does get you a plus, and that's one thing that is just like it's so good. Like opening with it is like opening with Wind Factory. Like you're literally just always going to circulate a plus because of those cards. So I guess like the really bad thing would be if you don't open Whirlwind, because it is a lot harder to grind through back row if you don't have Whirl. I'd say if you don't have Whirlwind or Icarus, it's pretty hard because these two cards are just like dominant forces in the deck. And also Kalut, like sometimes you just have those unfortunate games where you don't draw any of those cards, even though there's 3 copies of each. People are like, oh, that's bullshit. That doesn't happen. Trust me, it happens. Like it doesn't matter how consistent the deck is. Sometimes you're just gonna get those awful hands. Like every deck can get those awful hands where it's you still have plays, but they're not the best plays. So I would say that's the one like bad thing about the deck I can really say. Other bad things about the deck, kind of hard to actually say right now because the deck's really, really good and the deck's really consistent against pretty much the whole format. I'd have to really see how it plays against Dragon Ruler plants though. That's the one matchup that I know a lot of people are talking about. I definitely want to see how that does in the future. So that's one thing I look into. But yeah, that's pretty much the only bad thing I can think of is like not opening Whirlwind, not opening Icarus, not opening with a real defensive way to go about your plays would probably be like the downfall to the deck. Or opening like multiple Kalutes and no other Black Wings. Like Kalut is cool, I guess, but it's not like ideal. It only goes to 28, and I mean that does sound big, but it's so much nicer to have like like 32 with Shura, or just like have billion with Sirocco and Bora and all that crazy plays. So I'd say that's only one bad thing. And what's the Yu-Gi-Oh part? The Yu-Gi-Oh part is that this deck is been around forever and it's finally come back, and it's really come back with a good force. Like granted there was only one YCS, but everyone is talking about this deck, everyone is making videos on this deck, everyone is hyping this deck, everyone is saying how good this deck is, and it really is true. The deck is very consistent, the deck is very powerful, it's very aggressive, and it's one of those decks, like I've said, that can play around things that most other decks can't. I think that's what's really cool about the deck, is that it's able to get around pretty much every problematic card in the game, and it really does a good job of simplifying the game state before you just like pretty much explode and beat them. And I think that that's something that's really great about a deck this format, is that it's consistent, it's powerful, it's able to get around problematic cards, and it, like I said, simplifying the game state and then proceeding to just win through cards like Icarus Attack, through cards like Whirlwind, through Kalut, through other stuff, is just really like how the game how people will like enjoy playing the game compared to like Dragon Rulers back when it was just like reju for 12, like it's game like right there, like it was crazy. I know a lot of people will say that's true. A lot of people probably disagree, but I feel that a lot of people I've talked to have said that they enjoy the fact that the old decks play um, the way they used to, and they're able to still do well in such a different format. So that's basically like the whole gist of the video. I've talked about what's good, I've talked about what's bad, I've talked about what's Yu-Gi-Oh, and it's been revamped. The deck is revamped. I really think the deck will do well this format. Let me know what your guys' thoughts are in the comments below. Do you believe in Black Wings? Do you think the deck will really do well? I know there are a lot of outs to the deck, Consecrated Light being one of them, and other cards like that, but you do have cards like Icarus, you do have cards like, you have plenty of ways to get around Consecrated Light and other cards. One thing I would say is, definitely depending how the format shapes up, will the build stay simple or will it end up being teched out? We'll see. People are talking about running crazy things, and I've heard people say transmodify, saying other things. I don't really know right now. All I know is people are basing it off the basic build from Toronto, so I'm hoping that we see like some progression with the deck in the near future. So let me know what you guys think. Let me know if you enjoyed the video, if you want me to continue to do revamping back in the day with the old decks that I've done. I'm definitely going to be bringing some new decks to you guys. I want to talk about Bujins. I want to talk about them as soon as Shadow Specters are released, because that's where I heard is where the deck is really going to shine, so I'll definitely be looking into that. I want to talk about any other decks. I think I need to do Harpies. I haven't done Harpies yet, so if anyone has like a really good Harpy deck list, please, in the comments below or a video response, please send me one, because I would like to use it, and I really would appreciate it if someone could send me that, because I've never dealt with Harpies in my life, so I can't really tell you guys anything. It'll be a new adventure to explore. So Anyways, I hope you guys enjoyed the video. Thumbs up, let me know what your thoughts are, and let me know if you want me to continue revamping the old decks from the good, the bad, and the Yu-Gi-Oh! And I'll definitely bring you guys some new videos soon. That's all I gotta say. Thank you for watching.